Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Candy Stories. Today we'll be delving into the chilling story of an NFL player who wanted his girlfriend dead because she refused to have an abortion. This is the story of Rae Carruth, Cherica Adams, and the man who pulled the trigger, Brett Watkins. In 1999, the life of Cherica Adams was tragically cut short in a murder-for-hire plot orchestrated by her boyfriend, Rae Carruth. Carruth, a former NFL player, hired Brett Watkins to end Cherica's life, fearing the financial burden of child support for their unborn child. The story begins at a Charlotte strip club where Watkins worked. Brett Watkins explains that he met Rae through his co-manager. Watkins says that as soon as he met him, he didn't care for him. He thought he was arrogant because he came off as a self-important NFL player through his demeanor. Watkins claims Carruth becomes a regular at the club and eventually hires him to be his bodyguard. One day, Carruth approaches Watkins with a proposition. Carruth tells Watkins he's having issues with his girlfriend, how she is currently pregnant and he wants her to have an abortion. He is frustrated that she won't do it and has refused the money he offered. At the time, Carruth already had a son with another woman and was paying $3,000 a month in child support. He asks Watkins to beat up his girlfriend just enough to change her mind and force her to have an abortion. Watkins is open to the idea and asks how much he is willing to pay. He offered $3,000, and Watkins told him to double it. He considers Carruth a piece of shit for wanting to get his girlfriend beat up, but if he's paying enough, he will do it. Watkins is waiting for Carruth to come up with a plan for him to strike, but his ideas are less than ideal. He first comes up with attacking her at an IHOP, as that is where he's taking her one Saturday morning. Watkins disagrees with the idea, citing the public nature of the location and the likelihood of the police being called. He asks Carruth to find a more secluded place, but Carruth then chooses downtown Charlotte, another populated area that would attract too much attention. Due to the poorly thought out locations, time passes, and a week turns into a month and then a couple more. Carruth was persistent and repeatedly called Watkins asking, "When are you going to put the fence around the house so the dog won't get out?" The dog was a code word for the baby. As time passes, Carruth becomes more desperate. He calls Watkins again, offering more money and a new plan. They decided to meet up. He changes the plan from beating up Cherica to killing her. Carruth is frustrated that he's taking so long and that the baby can come at any moment. During their meeting, Carruth receives a phone call. It's Cherica. He puts her on speakerphone so Watkins can hear. She's yelling at him, telling him she's going to have the baby and is not having an abortion. Once the phone call ends, Watkins has a shift in feelings for Cherica and becomes more open to murdering her because of the way she speaks. He thought she wasn't some innocent girl who goes to work and church on Sundays. After that phone call, he says she was fair game. Then Brett Watkins thinks of himself as a professional killer. He was more than prepared to kill a defenseless pregnant woman. Watkins loads his gun up with 6 rounds. He sees Carruth's truck followed by Cherica's black BMW and follows them behind. Carruth hits the brake, and she stops behind him. Watkins pulls over to her side. He points the gun outside her window and shoots 4 times. Watkins recalls it being so quiet, you could hear Cherica struggling and choking on her own blood. Carruth watches from his rearview mirror and later pulls off, Watkins right behind him. Cherica was 8 months pregnant when she endured 4 shots from a .357 Magnum. On that tragic night, she managed to call 911, stayed on the line for 12 minutes, and was able to provide details of the attack. The 2 were later found, and with a confession, Watkins, his driver Michael Kennedy, and pro football player Rae Carruth were charged with attempted murder. Carruth had enough money for bail. The conditions of his bail were that in the event Cherica Adams did not survive, he would have to surrender himself back to the sheriff's department. 13 days after the shooting, Cherica's family was made aware of the arrests. The mother of Cherica, Sandra Adams, spoke to her while she was in a coma. She was telling her daughter about the unfolding events. She felt her daughter could hear her in spirit and said to her that the men who did this to her didn't get away. Unfortunately, Sandra had to make the painful decision of removing Cherica from life support. Her condition was rapidly deteriorating. She believed that is what Cherica would want because of the state she was in. She would just be present, but not really living. Police received a tip from a woman Carruth was traveling with. They found a multi-million-dollar wide receiver hiding in the trunk of his car. They found a bottle he urinated in, cash, and other items that would help him survive on the run. With life support withdrawn, Cherica succumbs to her wounds. Carruth was extradited back to Charlotte, where he was charged with first-degree murder. He pleads not guilty. During the 3-month trial, nationally broadcasted by Court TV, Watkins testified against Carruth, revealing the details of the plot. The jury found Carruth guilty of conspiracy to commit murder, but found him not guilty on first-degree murder charge, sparing him of the death penalty. Still, he was convicted of conspiracy to commit murder and other related charges. Watkins takes a plea deal to second-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Carruth was sentenced to 18 to 24 years, while Watkins was sentenced to a maximum of 50. Chancellor Adams, Cherica's surviving son, suffers from permanent brain damage and cerebral palsy due to the traumatic circumstances of his premature birth. Sandra Adams says, "He surprised everybody. He's a fighter. He's definitely a warrior. Her legacy is definitely living through him." Watkins says he feels deep remorse because of all the complications he's living with. Chancellor graduated from high school in Charlotte in 2021. Even though he can only speak a few words at a time, he was an honor student. Sandra Adams, now 66 years old, continues to advocate for Chancellor and educates others about the devastating impact of violence. Watkins spent his incarceration in isolation for disciplinary reasons. He was described as a difficult inmate who repeatedly was cited for infractions while he served his time. However, Watkins has shown signs of remorse and has reached out to Sandra Adams through letters. He would occasionally send money to Sandra for Chancellor's care. Some don't believe in Watkins' change of heart. Sergeant Tom Athey, the investigation supervisor, feels Watkins is only sorry for being caught. He believes Watkins is capable of killing again if given the chance. He doesn't see someone like Watkins ever changing for the better just because time passes, as he believes his heinous act shows a mindset that can never be changed. Sandra Adams has forgiven Watkins for its actions. Watkins sought a meeting with her, but she ultimately decided it wasn't necessary. Brett Watkins passed away on December 3, 2023, at the age of 63 in Central Prison in Raleigh, North Carolina. A prison official in North Carolina stated that the cause of death was natural. Rae Carruth served 18 years of an 18 to 24-year sentence in the North Carolina State Prison System and was released from the Sampson Correctional Institution in Clinton, North Carolina, on October 22, 2018. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more sweet content.